we're going to race. Am I in the shot?
Yep.
Welcome to this episode of Heartbreak Garage, and here we are. There's less than a week to go till the 24 hour, and since we last rode the bike I have done nothing, left it in the caravan, and I haven't had time. So time is of the essence now because we're running out of it and I need to get it done. So we've got some new handlebar grips to fit. We've got a quick action throttle which is going to take a little bit of modifying, but we need that because I don't want to be using the normal one. I've got off the Freetech website some special YSS non-progressive uprated performance springs, so I'm hoping they're going to do the business because she's a bit soft on the front. I did also get some fork emulators, but I ain't got time to be dicking around doing them. I ain't drilling and machining and putting down things that I haven't done before because I don't know what I'm doing and I might totally cock it up, and if I do, I don't want to be trying to find front suspension. Also, we've got some of these brackets which will allow us to fit some of these clip-on handlebars and change the riding position a bit as well, because it's a bit uncomfortable because the standard ones are way too high up. So this is what we're going to do, and I'm running out of time, so we're going to get on. If it don't fit, don't force it. So we took the front off the bike and we're figuring out a headlight, but now we're just gonna change the springs. Last time I did the fork oils and stuff, so we're just gonna undo the caps, take the washer out, take the spacer out, take the spring out, put the new spring in and check the level of the oil and reassemble. So that's the plan, and Fonzzy's got the ratchet here, so he's going to do it. You do need to put it on the stand because if you undo them it'll just go fuck off.
It was on the stand.
So if you get it on the stand now, we can get back to it. I'll bring you all back when it gets exciting. There's an O-ring on this that you got to be careful you don't totally fuck it all up. And there will be a bit of boing maybe. You've got to make sure you get your fork oil the correctness, so you've got the correct air gap, because you need the air gap, otherwise shit won't work and it'll just blow your oil seals out everywhere. There it is.
A slight bunginess.
So there's that. There's the boing. And you can see there's the O-ring, there's the washer, and in there is the spacer tube. So we'll take those out, and in there is the spring. Oh, here it comes. I'm hoping we won't have to. I'll check the oil level anyway, but I'm hoping I won't have to add any. Apart from like maybe a right tipful, not a left tipful.
It's got to be slow because it's trying to pull oil out with it.
There we go. Right, so just hold that there, Fonz. So now you can see on this one here, as you get to the bottom of the spring, it is very tightly wound compared to the top. So these are what is known as a progressive spring. And in road riding, that's exactly what you want, because the tighter the coils, the easier it compresses. But on track, you don't want that, because then it makes the front go wibbly going into the corners under hard braking. So there's the standard spring with its tightly wound coils go into less tightly wound coils, and now we'll go and have a look at the race spring from YSS, the people in the Freetech that are in the know apparently. My wife's lovely kitchen, which is doubling up as the workshop for today, and these are the springs in question. These are the YSS ones, and they are non-progressive and they're tempered differently apparently, and the same spring rate, well, not the same spring rate, they're a different spring rate, but they're equally bound on the coils. They're not progressive, so this is what we're going for. And he's now putting it in the fork lag very gently, because if you go too fast your oil might splurge out. Yeah, don't just drop it. Beautiful. She gone down. Got to make sure it locates onto the bottom.
Oh, it's gone down.
As long as it's gone down all the way.
I believe so.
Oh.
I don't really see anything.
Well, that'll be it then. I mean, as long as it goes back to where the doings are. So now the tube goes in.
That just goes in anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's no orientation. Yeah, looks good. And that sits on top, and then
Is that higher than it was? Or is it the springs?
that's the spring rate, I reckon.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful you don't cross thread them,
Yep.
otherwise we are shitted up. Oh. Oh, it looks beautiful. Right, we'll tighten that up to the correct amount of torque specs, and we'll do the other side, and then I'll bring you back with we'll do the bounce test. So with the help of Fonzzy, Fonzzy fitted the new springs, and we went through what was different on them, but now she is much more firm on the front, which will stop the dive going into the corners and hopefully have the bike much more settled with my weightiness on it, because there's a lot more resistance there. So we've done the springs, we're going to race them with them, and then the next time, in the next build episode, we'll do the emulators and we'll compare how much difference each modification makes to the suspension of the bike. Successfully turned the kitchen into a workshop, which is awesome, and we're doing more work on the bike. We've got rid of the old ones and we've mounted these more racy aluminium ones on there, and now we're going to start putting the rest of it together. We had to take the tank off. Now we've got to get the quick action throttle and all the controls back on. Right, so what we've got going on is we're working on the quick action throttle, and now focus. Where the nodder goes in there, the nodder is wider than the bracket that holds it on into this bracket, so the little nipple on the cable is jamming up in there and making the throttle stick. So we're going to have to do some work to that because it is a bit shit, and we're just going to grind the nodder down so it doesn't stick at wide open throttle and cause us to have an accident. But it appears to be working so far, which is great. So we have got some proper clip-on handlebars added, and we've put the front end up just to mock up. Got the levers, some switches. Our new throttle has not got a push button for the start, so I'm going to need to get a push button for it, but everything seems to be working. There's slight contact between the brake pipe and the clocks now because we put them in a different position, so I'm going to have to address that, but everything looks like it's actually working, dare I say it. So what do you reckon, Fonz? Is it more racy?
Yeah, it's going to be marvellous.
Marvellous. So the standard Fonzzy, the standard handlebars are out. The quick action throttle is modified with an angle grinder and some time and is on. We've got the new clip-ons with the brackets. Look at this. We've had to adjust a lot of things. We've got some contact issues between the braided brake pipe and the dash area. We've got the headlight back in because obviously we'll be racing at night, but we need to make it work and give it a polish because it looks awful. But it is looking so racy, and we've changed the position of the handlebars as well because we put the race clip-ons on, so it will be more comfortable in a race position for maximum speed. We've got to make a nice bracket because we're going to try and fit a better timer that everyone can see, and yeah, it's all coming together. We've actually instead of buying the cheapest Chinesium switch for the starter button, we've just remounted the one off the old throttle back on the end of what's sticking through from the widget there on the doodah. So boom, mint. So if it don't fit, don't force it. So it is Monday evening and we are starting doing the 24-hour next weekend. So I got the front end on, I got the headlight in, got it wired up. Right, so we've got the new bars on. I've done away with the dashboard because it had a wonky rev counter that wasn't very good, and the fuel gauge was not good at all. It was next to useless, in fact, so we just got rid of that. We don't need any of that. I've got my switches here for my ignition and my lights, got the headlight in. I've repurposed the push button for the starter off the old throttle because now we've got the quick action throttle, so I just put it on the end of the bar there to save money, and it's a nice good quality switch, whereas some of the ones off eBay look a bit shite. I've got to put the fuel tank on. Now I've rewired everything. I've got to put the seat unit on and the seats. The radiator is off and in the radiator repair shop, hopefully getting repaired tomorrow because there was a pinhole in it after the last race. I have got spare ones, but I prefer to have that one on the bike and then keep my spare ones for spares. And yeah, got to put the slicks on it and hopefully the weather will be nice and crack on.
I also want to get some a spare chain and some headlight bulbs in case we need them. I have got a spare headlight and everything too, so that's the plan there. And I've got to say the YSS springs on the front feel much more betterish than the old ones. You've got to have them. We should have got them a lot sooner, but you know, funds and all that. Oh yes. Okay. Put some bolts in there. Find some bolts and put some bolts in there, and then that's bolted and on, so I don't have to worry about it. 1, 2. Right. Cool. So we've got new front suspension springs, we've got fresh oil, we've got different handlebars, we've got a headlight, we've changed the placement of things. I need what's left to do before the weekend, which is before Friday even, so I've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm busy tomorrow, so I've got Wednesday, Thursday, so realistically I've got no time left, but what I've got to do is make a better mount for the timer to get that somewhere where we can see it. What else have I got to do? I need to put a bracket on the exhaust and a few other bits. So we've got 4 riders, other teams have got 6, 8, whatever. There's 4 of us. We're going to do what we can do. We're going to break it up into stints. So the man you haven't met is Scott. Scott's going to do, Cody's going to start, then Scott's going to go, then Cody's going to go, then Scott's going to go, then Cody's going to go, then Scott's going to go. And for the first stint, then me and Fonzzy will take over and do 4 or 6 hours or whatever we feel like. Then they'll take over, they'll do a load of stints, because if we just take it in turns, no one's going to get a break. So this is the plan. We're going to hit it hard, we've got the wives there to help out, and hopefully we finish the 24-hour. I don't care about placement, I just want to finish it so I can say I've done it, and that's that. So if it don't fit, don't force it.